We're glad you could join us here on a Monday. I'm Marlin Bohling with you. I'm joined in studio by our very special guest, Chris Swift of Swift Trading Incorporated. How are you?
I'm doing great. A little warm, but other than that, okay.
A little bit warm, yeah. A little relief in the Corn Belt, I hear, from the frontal system coming through. It's delivering a fair amount of rain. That seems to be putting a lot of pressure on the markets today.
A little bit this morning.
That's the sole reason?
I don't know if it's all the reason, but it's some of the reason.
We'll dive into that in a minute. All right, let's take a look at our prices. We'll start with the corn market this morning. Started out about 6 cents lower and then quickly rebounded to about 3.5 lower. Now we're 4 1/4 lower. On September, we're at 4.26 1/4, and December down about a nickel, 5 1/4 lower at 4.30 1/2. And if you look at the soybean trade, overnight, it was actually holding together a little better than corn, and now it's actually a little bit worse. We have September soybeans down 6 1/4 at 9.01. Chris, I see where it got down to 8.99 1/4 here this morning already. That's under that $9 mark. It's not there right now, but boy, it's hovering there. November down 6 1/4 at 9.13. On the wheat trade, Chicago's under pressure today. We have September down 3 3/4 at 4.98 3/4 in Kansas City. It's down about a penny or so, give or take a little bit. September down 3/4 at 4.39 1/4. So a generally weaker tone here in the grain complex so far today. How much of this are we going to see this week, do you think?
Probably most of the week, I would say.
Really?
I don't know how weak it'll remain for the week, but Thursday we got some information from USDA that they are going to address the discrepancy between planted acres that they had between USDA and the private forecast on the August 12th report. So we've got about 2 weeks of marking of time to go before we get some definitive answers, and I don't see anything just really bullish or bearish out there, so staying in this range would not surprise me.
So the rain came in and relieved a lot of the dryness concerns. Didn't hit everybody, though.
No.
I mean, there's some areas out there that are going like, what? We didn't get the rain, and now what?
All right.
Because it's going to be cooler, but it's going to be dry for about a week, I hear.
Yeah, and I'm not real sure that that's as much of a concern as what we're hearing from the dilution of pesticides and of fertilizers. So all the areas that got more rain, if they were able to get out some of those, then they were diluted greatly because of the rain. And, you know, there's just some bad issues in the crop all the way around. It's not a perfect crop. It's not a horrible crop either, because all those areas outside of the Corn Belt that receive timely planting and the rains, they'll all produce and yield very highly. But the ones still in the Corn Belt and where we grow the bulk of our corn, none of those seem to be in just excellent condition.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, we heard all this talk about how the basis was really strong in the eastern half of the Corn Belt. Really, really strong, like 50 over or more. And now I've heard it has really softened up here lately. Have you heard that? Are the farmers really selling a lot of cash grain?
I'm not as sure. I knew that the rain and the barges had, the barge traffic on the rivers had some to do with that. And I think now that some of the flooding has gone down, it might have allowed further barge traffic to go through.
So they are moving.
They are moving some grain, yes, they are.
All right, so that alleviates that concern. All right, well, thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate that. What we'll do is we'll pause here, and we will come back in a moment. We'll take a look at the cattle and the hog market, see what they're up to on a Monday when we come back.
Nutrition and animal health have always been at the center of your livestock operation. But consumer demands are continuing to influence
8 Central on RFDTV.
RFDTV's The American is returning to AT&T Stadium March 7th and 8th in 2020. Tickets are on sale now. Go to AmericanRadio.com and get yours today.
Chris Swift joins us once again. We're going to take a look at our livestock trade. On the livestock, boy, you know, we looked a little bit ago when it opened up, and it was about as quiet as a mouse.
Yeah.
It was just so quiet.
And now?
And we had the cattle reports came out. Let's take a peek at what we're doing now on live cattle.
Yeah.
Well, they're still straddling the fence here, Chris. Just not getting any traction here. October now up a nickel. We're at 108.55. December unchanged at 113.17. And February, down 2 ticks at 116.97. So still going nowhere fast. What about feeders? Let's see what they're up to here this morning. On the feeder cattle market, wow, look at that. We have plus signs across the board. We have September 45 higher at 140.25, and that is now about 60 cents off our earlier low this morning. We have October 22 higher at 140.25. Meanwhile, on the lean hog trade, a lot of folks watching that for the China connection there. And on the lean hogs, let's switch over there and see what's going on with the futures trade, where we have the October 48 higher now at 79.40, and now you have December half a dollar higher at 77.25. So I guess, like you say, a firmer tone this morning, but generally kind of holding their own. What do you make of it?
A little bit. The cattle and feed report really wasn't construed as bullish or bearish. The numbers came in line exactly as what they were anticipating, as did the inventory report. So the inventory report showed 100%. The only thing that we really recognize out there is there just seems to be more feeder cattle outside the feed yards. You know, they only place 98% into the feed yards. In order to really start moving some of this inventory out, we think it needs to be above 102, 103 pretty consistently. As soon as the weather starts to dry up a little bit, we'll see more inventory come off pastures and come off the backgrounding time frames for here and get into some fall feeding. And I think there's going to be a lot of inventory available.
This afternoon, we get another report coming out after the close, right? We get
Cold
the
storage.
cold storage report.
That's correct, yes.
Later on today. Does that have potential to be a market mover?
Maybe in the hogs. I don't think it'll do too much in the beef. It rarely does very much in the beef. We don't see any great big changes in that. But in the hogs, it might have some impact to it. Unfortunately, I think it'll be an increase in storage because we just didn't seem to have moved our pork market too awful much export-wise.
All right, when you look at the cattle and hog markets and you stand back 3 feet and look at the charts, what does that tell you on
They're
either
both
one?
the fat cattle and feeder cattle markets both in bear markets. The hog market trying to find a bottom here. They've been up last week and they're a little bit firmer again today. So they're trying to make a reversal to it, but the lean hog index still around 72, doesn't give it much leeway.
Kind of tough this year, isn't it? Because the grilling season kind of got cut in half.
It did. You know, and it's hot out there now. Nobody wants to get out there in 100-degree weather and fire up the grill, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, at least if we get it down in the 80s this week, it should be a little
more pleasurable. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for
Yes,
coming
sir.
in. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Chris Swift of Swift Trading Incorporated right here in Nashville. Janet?
All right. Thank you guys very much, as always.